is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Florida.
Valley of the Sun has not been too hot for the Fish their first 2 days here, and last night a thriller. Marlins coming from way back to win it. This would be game 2 on a Saturday night, and this would be Native American Recognition Day. That means great music and some really cool dancing and ceremonies before the ball game. Old friends say hello. Paul Goldschmidt, popular guy, as the Marlins and the Diamondbacks get set to go. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Preston Wilson for the second night in a row. The Marlins had 7 runs in the 7th inning, came from behind, and all of a sudden the late offense is here for Miami.
Well, it was nice to see Miami add on runs late. Don Mattingly wanted to get more production late in the game. They seemed like they had a good plan against that Diamondback bullpen, and it paid off.
All right, you want runs? I'll give you runs. In Jose Fernandez's last 6 starts, he's given up 3 runs. That's it. And he has a chance to set some Miami history tonight as he goes for his 9th consecutive win in 9 starts against the Diamondbacks. He's been pretty good as well.
Well, he's been really good. Actually, the last time he faced the Diamondbacks was the last time he didn't go at least 6 innings. But he got the win in that ball game. But I will say this, he's a different pitcher from on May 4th when he faced the Diamondbacks. He's much more efficient now. He's got a better game plan. He's not messing around with some hitters that he shouldn't. He's attacking, and he's really, really on a roll, Rich.
He is, and so Fernandez gets the ball on a Jose day, or night, if you will, here in the Valley of the Sun. Zach Godley. You may not have heard of him, but my partner has heard of him. Why, Preston Wilson, do you know this guy so well?
You said at high school there at Bamberg Earhart High School. Well, that is my alma mater. I went to high school there. My dad went to high school there, and it's amazing that a small school like that can put out talent. Another guy made it to the big leagues. They've even got a couple NFL guys in the last few years that have made it.
Yeah, he was 5-1 last year. He's just up from AAA to make this start. When we get back, it's Marlins, it's Diamondbacks, and it's Jose. Jessica Blaylock catches up with Jose as he gets set to take on Arizona. Miami Marlins baseball. Let there be light. Roof opening up, so open roof tonight. 96 outside. A little bit of a wind, but ready for baseball. Let's go down below. Jessica Blaylock, and Jess has got a friend with her.
Oh, yes, always. I love Baxter. Well done, Baxter. It's good to see you. Hey, Rich, earlier this week in Minnesota, we ran into former Marlins pitcher Ricky Nolasco, who still holds multiple pitching records for Miami. I had a chance to talk to him about those records, and he said, sure, they're great, but there's this young kid named Jose Fernandez who is going to break all of them because he is incredible. Here is Jose's response to the comments from Ricky Nolasco.
Ricky was, my mentor when I got to the big leagues. My logo was next to him. And I remember he teach me so much in that half a season that he was with us that, into a day, I remember every part of it. And, we still talk, we still keep it friends. And it's just, I'm not here to break records. I'm here to win ball games and give the guys a chance to win. But, it is a special coming from a guy like that, and I really appreciate it.
And Jose may have a ways to go when it comes to overall catching Ricky Nolasco's records, but he is doing quite well for himself so far this season. 110 strikeouts on the year for Jose, who's also coming off of a 14 strikeout performance against the Mets. When we return, it is Game 2 from the Valley of the Sun. The Diamondbacks and the Marlins getting ready for the second meeting of this 3-game series.
Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. And by Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Yes, indeed. Plenty of sunlight left in Phoenix, but a late night with the fish with the roof wide open. And why not? The Marlins offense has flourished late night the last 2 nights with 7 runs in the 7th in their last 2 ball games. 1 in Minneapolis and 1 here last night. Miami's lineup tonight among the cactus or the cacti, brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Eric Dietrich is in the leadoff spot. Martin Prado is second. Christian Yelich is third. Marcelo Ozuna is in the cleanup spot. 5, 6, 7, Stanton. 4, Real Muto. 8, Danny Echeverria. And pitching, batting 9th, is Jose Fernandez.
Zach Godley, the 26-year-old, Bamberg, South Carolina. Preston Wilson's alma mater, high school, went on to pitch at the University of Tennessee. And here is Derek Dietrich. And Godley misses out. Lance Barksdale's calling balls and strikes with Angel Hernandez at first. Will Little at second. Ted Barrett is at third base. Dietrich not in the lineup last night with Patrick Corbin, the lefty, starting. That one darts down, and it's 2-0. Dietrich last started on Thursday night in Minneapolis as the Marlins beat the Twins 10-3. And it's 3-0. Got the eye black going. And in the leadoff spot with Martin Prado, Christian Yelich also due up. And that is down low. Dietrich walks. And Miami has their leadoff runner aboard here in the first. Arizona's defense brought to you by Southwest. Ricky Weeks is in left field. Michael Bourne in center. David Peralta in right. Jake Lamb, Nick Ahmed, Gene Segura, Paul Goldschmidt around the infield, with Chris Herman behind the plate. Herman, a good catch and throw guy. Tough to steal against him. Martin Prado now 1 for 4 last night. And a fastball is up, and Herman, with a quick timeout, trots on his way out to talk to Godley, who is 6'3", 240. And made his major league debut last year.
Oh, big solid kid. Diamondbacks really like him. He's got good stuff.
Chip Hale, his bullpen faltered last night, certainly, as the Marlins poured it on late. Everything turned around on that Justin Bour pinch hit grand slam. Godley misses up, and he has missed on his first 6 pitches here. Now he's just been called up for the minor leagues, but last year he pitched well in a short stay here. 6 starts, 3 relief appearances. He was 5-1 with a 3.19 ERA. And that's down low. That pitch actually caught the plate and the knees, but when you've missed on your first 6, you don't usually get the benefit of the doubt. There's a strike. Well, maybe not. But I think 3 and 4 now even out, and the count's 3-1. Let's see what the Marlins do at first. Dietrich has not stolen a base, nor has he attempted a steal yet this year. You got Yelich on deck, and then Ozuna. Prado a line drive into center field. That's a hit. Dietrich around second, on his way to third, and he didn't hesitate to run against Michael Bourne. The Marlins go first to third on a Prado single, and Miami set up at the corners with nobody out.
Good swing, stays through the middle of the field right here. That's vintage Martin Prado. Watch Dietrich. Michael Bourne makes this play easy, though. When you see the outfielder go down to a knee, you're going to take that next base. Doesn't matter how strong or how weak your arm is. If you're going away from your throw and you go down to one knee, you have to take that base as a base runner.
It's a tricky outfield in terms of playing a ball on the ground that's hit hard. It's lightning fast. Grass has a tendency to be thin. You can see the patches that have been pieced together out there in left, center, and right. Here's Yelich now. Yelich has hit in 10 straight, 2 for 5 last night, a triple and a double. And Godley misses out.
Yeah, growing grass has always been a challenge here. I remember playing here my first couple years after they built this ballpark, and you just take off an outfield and just a big chunk of dirt or grass would come up from under your feet. You know, it's a real challenge for the grounds crew to keep this field in good shape.
Yelich off of Godley. Runner comes home, and Dietrich's going to score. The out at first. The Marlins are on the board, and Prado survives at second.
Really tight. Patient. Really tight.
I think Godley's just trying to get it out here. I think Dietrich got very fortunate that you got a young pitcher on the mound that's a little bit rattled right now because he didn't get a good jump, and then when he restarted, there was definitely a play at home, but Godley's just trying to get it out. He's trying to get something going for himself.
Now Ozuna with one out. Marcell Ozuna just keeps on hitting. 2 more hits, 2 more RBIs last night, and he pops this one up behind the plate. Herman is back, and it's safely over the screen and into the seats from a Marlins perspective. And Ozuna's numbers, they continue to be all-star worthy. The 371 on base added to that, and a .552 slugging percentage. He is 8th in the National League in slugging. A 1 is up, and right now Zach Godley does not look sharp in terms of command. There's your total base leaders. Ozuna, as far as hits go, second in the National League behind Daniel Murphy, just ahead of Gene Segura, who's out at second base for the Diamondbacks tonight. One and two. Preston, my guess is, and I've not experienced enough games roof closed, roof open to say for sure, but my guess is ball's going to fly a lot better because once the roof and those windows out in center field open up, the big panels that spin, it's going to get a lot warmer in here, and thus the ball's going to carry a lot more. The AC has been on since about 3 o'clock before they opened that roof.
Yeah, it's a different ball game in here when this thing opens up.
And that one off the end of the bat, and Bourne comes out to get it. Prado ends up at second. So I deferred opinion because I'm sitting next to a guy that has been here and done that 37 games at Chase Field. Lots of damage. Nice OPS, by the way. And two homer games.
Had some fun here. This was I always like hitting here. It's just one of those places where you feel good. I felt like that at Shea Stadium. I felt like that in Wrigley. It's just certain ballparks you come to, you feel like you're going to get something done.
Now Giancarlo Stanton, who was 1 for 4 with a double last night. Diamondbacks a big shift, which has 3 infielders on the third base side. See, Stanton's average has dipped below 200, and Goldschmidt, the first baseman for the Diamondbacks, is way off the line. One 0 pitch misses in. For Stanton, the road back in fits and starts. He'll have a day where he swings the bat pretty well, and then the next day a struggle. High fly ball center field. Bourne is under it, and he makes the catch. But Miami is on the board. A run early, and Jose Fernandez takes the hill next. formerly Squaw Peak here in Phoenix. 1-0 Miami on top, and with that piece de resistance, here come the Diamondbacks.
Gene Segura leading off, Jake Lamb batting second, Paul Goldschmidt is third, David Peralta is fourth, Ricky Weeks is fifth, Chris Herman is sixth, Nick Ahmed is batting seventh, playing shortstop. Zach Godley, the pitcher, is in the 8 hole. Michael Bourne, playing center field, is batting ninth tonight for the Diamondbacks.
Brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine. And here is Fernandez, whose numbers keep going down, though tonight he's pitching in a great hitter's environment, not only here in Arizona, but with the roof open and the panels open on a warm night here in Phoenix. And Jose gets a strike. See those giant panels, they swing closed when the roof slides shut. And just like Marlins Park, air conditioned, climate controlled. So many numbers to talk about with Jose. Gene Segura gets the first crack at him with Jake Lamb and Paul Goldschmidt right behind. Fastball up. It looked like a tight strike zone from Lance Barksdale in the top of the first, and we'll see if that affects Jose in the bottom half. Right field, Stanton takes a peek. Roof open certainly changes the dynamics of seeing the baseball from the outfield. Oh, look at that shot. Brought to you by Southwest. That shot and the defense. Christian Yelich, Marcelo Zuna, Giancarlo Stanton, Martin Prado, Adelia Echeverria, Derek Dietrich, Justin Bohr, and JT Realmuto is back in there behind the plate. Yeah, the hot tub is going strong. The pool is a popular place tonight. Now Jake Lamb, there's not a lot of history between many of these Diamondbacks and Jose, but Lamb has had some success against him.
Lamb is actually 3 for 5, batting .600 against Jose coming into the game tonight. I'm actually really excited about this game because the Jose Fernandez that the Diamondbacks are facing tonight is not that same guy who pitched against them back in May.
Well, Jose said it himself. I was reading a couple of interviews this morning, and he said, look, I'm learning how to pitch. I've realized, at least in this stretch of games, that I don't have to throw a ball through a wall to be successful. I can pitch early and get deeper in games. And I think he's enjoyed the fact that he's been able to get into the 7th. He's certainly tried to talk his way into the 8th and the 9th. That one foul back. But of course, the Marlins, you got to remember, Juan Nieves, Don Mattingly, Michael Hill, everybody got together, even with Jose's surgeon and his agent, and plotted out the course for 2016. And that was to get to about 180 at the end of September. That is strike 3 called, and down goes Lamb.
This is a great pitch, little front door 2-seamer. Just catches the corner of the plate at the knees.
And you know, just watching him in this first inning, he's very different. His demeanor is different. He's not breathing fire and trying to throw the ball 100 miles an hour. And at the same time, he has a good rhythm going.
Interesting, the first few fastballs Jose's thrown tonight to the batters were in the mid-low 90s. Goldschmidt came out hacking, but coincidentally, Fernandez threw that one 97.
And that's the other thing Jose talked about after his last start, was that he's finding to be able to throw a 92 or 93 mile an hour fastball and know he can dial up 97, 98 has really been a nice weapon for him.
You know, I think sometimes young pitchers forget how hard it is to hit. And when you can stand up there on the mound and locate 92, 94 with movement, and then when you need to be able to reach back and get 97, 98, sometimes 99 in Jose's case, that's difficult.
Jose Fernandez is in the house. He punches out 2 in the first inning. Miami up 1-0. And the Marlins against Zach Godley. Scouting report brought to you by Auto Nation. What have you got, Preston?
Well, he's tough to catch. His ball moves all over the place. He's got a low 90s four-seam cutter. Front, back to front. When he came out of Tennessee, he was a starter. The Cubs, when he got drafted, moved him to the bullpen. And now the Diamondbacks have moved him back.
Justin Bohr sprays one to the left side. And he is out number 1.
Back to a starter, as I was saying. And he volunteered. You know what that means, Rich? I know you know this one.
Public service, SEC.
Very close. Now you're getting there. You're getting there.
All right.
University of Tennessee, volunteers, yes. Todd Helton would be proud.
Rocky Top.
Oh, the times when I was playing in Colorado, I had to hear Todd Helton talk about Tennessee.
That's right. Todd Helton, great Rocky, was a quarterback and lost his job to some guy named Manning.
Some guy, you know.
Here's JT Realmuto. Realmuto had the night off last night, and he got to watch Jeff Mathis go 1 for 3 and handle Justin Nicolino and 4 relievers. Realmuto, a really nice road trip, 5 hits, 2 doubles in his stay in Minneapolis. Godley has that one move away. It looks like Godley's movement is working against him right now.
Well, until you can throw strikes, it is going to work against you because you have to get guys to start swinging.
And if you're hunting for strikes and balls at home, we'll help you out with Fox Tracks tonight. This is an off center camera in center field. There's a look at Fox Tracks. Pitch 2 and 3 and 1 were out. But it's not a straight down the chute camera, so you're off on the left field side. So in and out is tough to tell. Big hammer there. First time we've seen that.
Yeah, he's thrown a couple good ones. That's the first good one like that we've really seen him snap off. He threw one to Ozuna, and Ozuna's at bat, but this was by far a better curveball. Well, it's got some snap to it.
Realmuto back up the box. Backing up is Segura, and he gets the throw to first.
Just gets out of the way of that thing. But Segura back there with that shortstop arm at second base makes that play look really easy.
He threw that ball flat-footed too.
That's not your typical second base arm right there from Gene Segura.
Danny Echeverria was 1 for 4 last night. Echeverria was in the leadoff spot, even walked in the leadoff spot. A couple of line drive outs. And Godley throws a strike.
Oh.
Now I'd like to see that on Fox Tracks and see where it shows up. There it is. It's right by the plate.
Ball bounced on the county line, Rich.
Here's the 0-2. And Etch lays off that. Marlins lost the first 2 games of the road trip in Minneapolis, and they had opportunities late in both those ball games to win it. Echeverria. Peralta started back and now comes charging in and makes the catch. 1, 2, 3. 1 up. Jose Fernandez getting set to face David Peralta. Now Jose, when he faced the Diamondbacks, beat him in Miami, but Peralta took him deep.
He had a good game against him, but I think part of it was the way that Jose pitched him. Showed him a lot of his pitches early. Didn't have anything to surprise Peralta with later on in that ball game. I see a different approach is going to happen tonight against Peralta.
A lot of fastballs early for Jose, and he pumps in another at 95.
And the mistake that Jose made the last time he faced Peralta, and I remember this, the first pitch with nobody on, and he threw Peralta a changeup. So he showed him one of his out pitches for no reason when the guy hadn't seen his fastball yet.
Good fastball there, and Echeverria on to first in time. So an out here in the second. If you need to network, and who doesn't need to network, you can do it at a Marlins game. Choose from a variety of meeting spaces and places, hospitality, entertainment, and catering packages as well. 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com. Quite a bit of Marlin flavor up in that suite. And down here in Arizona, Fish family members have made their way out on this road trip. Good trip to be on, with a stop in Arizona and next stop San Diego.
Yeah. Good road trip, Rich.
Center field deep. Ozuna goes back. Track. Looks up. Got it. Marcell Ozuna got to the wall. Wasn't quite sure if it was going to come down or not. It's a tricky wall out there, Preston. You played center field here.
Well, I think Marcell did the right thing, just going back as deep as you can first. Then you wait on the ball. You don't want to try to drift back with the time it. You always want to try to find the wall, make yourself comfortable. Then you can find the ball up there and make your play.
Here's Chris Herman. He drills one to left. Yelich back at the track. He makes the catch. Jose, a 6-pitch inning, has retired all 6 he's faced. Coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. All right, let's start with the Nationals. Steven Strasburg, and this is last night, now 10-0 as he beat the Phillies. Clayton Kershaw now 9-1. You see the balk on Johnny Cueto, that a controversial one. He did one too many waggles and wiggles in one of his deliveries. Corey Kluber struck out 8 in a 3-hit complete game win over the Angels for the Indians. Marlins do play the Indians a little later on. And a lot of baseball has passed already today, and importantly for Miami, the Mets lost 7-4. Milwaukee beat the Mets up in Milwaukee. And the Nationals shut out the Phillies. Jose Fernandez getting just a scouting report. Dietrich had the first at bat against Godley. Big breaking ball.
Dietrich can tell him about that one. See, this is Jose being Jose right here. He knows those guys went up there hacking first pitch on him. He's trying to deliver some of that, and they throw a breaking ball on him.
Got him. Jose strikes out. Dietrich and Prado will follow. Miami got their run in the first. Zach Godley was wild. He walked Dietrich to start the game. Prado singled, and Yelich knocked home a run on a ground ball out.
I suck.
If you heard just now, Jose's giving himself a critique on his batting.
It's all right. Just keep throwing strikes. Dietrich watches that one sink low. That's the first strikeout for Godley. First time through the lineup. A walk and a strikeout and a hit.
He's starting to mix in some other stuff now. Now that he's able to throw strikes with his fastball. You see the changeup there, really good downward movement on that changeup. So a couple good breaking balls earlier. And this is just a perfect illustration of when you're a pitcher and you can throw strikes with your fastball, it opens up everything else.
Godley gets the out, and there's 2 outs here in the third. Yeah, the Nationals won again, 8-0. Tanner Roark combined with his bullpen on a shutout of the Phillies. The Phillies are now 4 under, and the Nationals are 14 over. So an opportunity for the Marlins with the Mets losing tonight. And as well, and I know, look, it's approaching mid-June, but not only if you're a fan of whatever team that's near the top, you're looking at teams in other divisions as well, because all of a sudden you realize that you don't have to win the division to get to the postseason. Prado trying to beat this one out, and he does. A dribbler up the third baseline. Martin Prado has his second hit of the game.
Something about being on the road for Martin Prado. He just finds ways to get hits. Lace went in the center his first at bat, and this is all of about 50-60 feet of a ground ball that ends up being a base hit. You see him smelling it running down the line, Rich?
Yes. He looked a lot like he did when he was running from third with that great slide at the plate last night when he scored on a Christian Yelich double down the left field line. Fastball up. My point is this, as everybody focuses on their division, and rightly so, you also have to keep an eye, if say you're the Marlins, on teams like St. Louis and Pittsburgh, Los Angeles, obviously the Mets, teams that might be wild card contenders. See how they're doing tonight. St. Louis beat Pittsburgh 5-1. The pitch is out. And so the Mets have lost. That's good for the Fish. There's your wild card standings right now. And the Dodgers and the Giants are tied 3-3. And it's going to the bottom of the ninth in San Francisco.
Nice changeup. Hitter in a hitter's count, being aggressive, looking for that fastball. And Godley throws a really nice changeup that fades away. Kid's starting to show he can pitch a little bit now, his last inning or so.
Doubled up on the changeup.
Yes, he did. Took a little bit more off of that one. The first one was 83 miles an hour. That one was 81.
Two and two. A running fastball up. And so the count full. And with 2 outs, it'll give Prado a little extra scoot from first. Prado on the move, 3-2 to Yelich. And he walked. And so Yelich on his way to first. And Marcell Ozuna gets an at-bat here in the 3rd inning.
Or if you're Godley, you don't want to give Ozuna too many times to drive in runs. Too many chances to drive these runs in right now. This is a second at-bat in this game, and his second at-bat with runners in scoring position for Ozuna.
He's been really good in that spot on this road trip. He's driven in 7 runs. He's 9 for 21 on the trip. Segura was waiting on it. And the Marlins will strand a couple here in the 3rd, and here in Arizona it's 1-0 Miami.
Field, where it is Native American Heritage Recognition Day. Tribal dancers before the start of today's game were just a part of the festivities. So was an intertribal youth baseball tournament that began on Wednesday. It wrapped up today. That involved 78 tribes from 5 different states, over 1,100 participants. The tournament was held at Salt River Field. Not only is that the home of the Diamondbacks spring training, but the ballpark is also built on Native American land. And guys, so many of those kids that participated in the tournament, they are here tonight at the game.
Yeah, Jess, it was a terrific pregame stuff out there for about a half an hour before first pitch. And a really nice crowd here tonight. Play ball, 74 teams, 38 tribes across 5 states competing in the intertribal tournament. Yeah, Saturday night with the roof wide open, the big panels in center field are open. And Jose Fernandez is open for business as well. This is Godley. Tony La Russa is the chief baseball officer. He and Dave Stewart make up a big part of the baseball operations front office. Stewart, the vice president, general manager. Of course, La Russa in St. Louis, oftentimes there he is sitting next to President Derek Hall. La Russa many times in St. Louis had his pitcher hitting 8th. So Godley's in the 8th spot. It helps when you've got a speedy guy like Bourne. A swing and a miss. Down goes Godley. That's strikeout number 3 for Fernandez. Just for man, mustache and beard, play like a champ. Most consecutive decisions with a win. So not starts, but decisions. Jose can tie Pat Rapp for decisions and blow past Chris Hammond for winning consecutive starts. In the big leagues, the last to have a run like this was Chris Sale, who had a run of 10 consecutive starts with a win last year. Here's Michael Bourne. It's one of the nuances of having the pitcher 8th is if you have a guy like Bourne who can steal bases and you don't want him at the top of your lineup, if you put him 8th, he can't run. I mean, there's a lot of situations where he just can't run with the pitcher behind him, especially if there's 2 outs.
You want to give your players talent a chance to play, and when you hit this guy 8th in front of a pitcher, it really takes away a lot of ways that he can help your ball club. And the theory is really you're only the leadoff hitter once in a game anyway. So once that lineup starts rolling over, now you have a Bourne, Segura, and when you look at Lamb and Goldschmidt, both of those guys have 11 home runs. So you putting another table setter on in front of those 2 guys.
Liner to left, Yelich there, and he makes the catch. And a 1-2-3 third. Jose Fernandez has retired all 9 with some help from his outfielders. One nothing start. Miami on top. 4th inning arrives. Giancarlo Stanton, Justin Bourne, JT Realmuto against Zach Godley. Stanton flied to center. Takes a breaking ball, shoots it up the middle. Segura It was over on the other side of the diamond on a shift. Gets Stanton. Lots of ground ball outs coming now for Godley. Tomorrow, South Florida Honda Dealers brings you Marlins Live. If you watched Cuba, baseball's final frontier, that great documentary that Fox Sports had and we showed earlier this year, you'll want to join us tomorrow at 3:30. Yasmani Tomas, of course, one of the great Cuban players to come out, now an Arizona Diamondback. Yasmani's journey. And if you saw that special, there are a lot of things in Yasmani's journey that you've not seen. So that's tomorrow. It's a really cool feature that we've got on a Sunday. Our friends at Fox Sports Arizona kind enough to lend us Yasmani's journey, cut just for the Diamondbacks and just for Tomas. Justin Bour bounced to short. And Godley misses down low, yanks that changeup. Count 2-1. Bour, big moment, obviously, last night, down 5-1. Pinch hitting appearance against fabled Marlin killer Tyler Clippard. Clippard decided to throw his patented changeup. And keep in mind, since 2009, Clippard has the lowest batting average against by left-handed hitters of any pitcher in the 180s. And so that changeup has been such a weapon for him. He trotted it out last night, and Bour crushed it for a grand slam. Here comes Real Muto. It was the 6th pinch hit grand slam in Miami Marlins history, and the first since 2005. Remember, late August, Jeremy Hermida, his very first major league at bat. Hermida hit a pinch hit grand slam.
I mean, how do you go up from there? You know, my first big league hit was a 40-foot dribbler down the third baseline. And I was running like Prado. But the chip to that is
Real Muto crushes one left field and deep and way out of here. Ooh, like a rocket. JT Real Muto's 3rd homer of the season, and Miami's lead is now 2-0.
Yikes. That ball was absolutely hammered. I mean, this is just a really good swing right here. Good approach. See him get there and just explode on that thing.
He put his head down right away. Watch his head.
Yeah, you know that. When you feel that feeling on the bat, he had to peek back up at it, though. Don't let him fool you. He didn't just keep his head down the whole time. He wanted to see where it landed.
429 feet later. Echeverria takes a breaking ball for a strike. You know, the Marlins, in terms of home runs, have been in a bit of a drought. They went to Minnesota where the ball was flying quite well, and Chris Johnson had a pinch hit 2-run homer. Last night, a pinch hit grand slam by Justin Bour. 51 home runs for Miami. That went foul back to the screen.
Real Muto really surprises some people because he's really quick in. And I don't think people understand that, how quick he is. But there's not many people that can throw a fastball by him inside.
Well, even with the adjustment that he's made this year, moving a little closer to the plate. 1-2. Breaking ball is away. Tomorrow it's Adam Conley and Robbie Ray. Ray, a left-handed starter. Conley looking for win number 4. Echeverria center field. That's well hit. Back goes Bourne at the track. Makes the catch. 405 feet. from home plate. But JT Realmuto goes deep. I mean, real deep. And it's 2-0. Miami Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. MI Checkers, fast foodies, know the deal. Night is falling, lights coming on in Phoenix, and in downtown Phoenix, Chase Field has the roof wide open. The big panels in center are open as well. That's a strike. Gene Segura bailed out on it, and that shows you what kind of break Jose's got going on that pitch tonight. And so he throws another one, and the count's 0-2.
Your at bat's over, man. When you sit down on a strike, your at bat's over. It's over.
Does he throw him a third straight breaking ball?
It's over. Your bat, he had no chance after he saw that first breaking ball and he took a seat on it. No chance. I don't miss that at all, Rich.
That's 4 strikeouts now for Jose. Jake Lamb, Paul Goldschmidt following. It's the top of the order for the Diamondbacks. Lamb called out on strikes in the first. Jose fastball for a strike. We were talking earlier about the plan for Jose. An innings goal by the end of September. And sometimes you, especially when Jose's pitching quite well and he gets to 100 pitches and the Marlins have a lead and Jose tries to talk his way into staying in the ball game, there's a lot of emotion and sentiment to try to, hey, why not leave the kid in? But if you really look hard at the numbers, this is only Jose's 60th start in the big leagues. That's only 2 seasons worth of starts for many. Start number 60. Not only did he miss time with Tommy John surgery, but of course last year with the bicep tendonitis.
His talent is just so above and beyond most pitchers, and a lot of teams have guys like that. You know, Arrieta with the Cubs, a lot of teams, Wainwright when he first started out with the Cardinals.
How about that? Sharp breaking ball.
That's just filthy. Down
near the shoe tops. Toyota brings you this inside look on base percentage since Paul Goldschmidt arrived back in 2011 from Texas State. Votto, Cabrera, Trout, Goldschmidt, McCutchen. And this year Goldschmidt is at a robust 432.
Jose went all fastballs first time up for Goldschmidt. See what he does this time. Looked like he overthrew that one a little bit. Just a little bit.
97 on that fastball. Goldschmidt second in on-base percentage, just a few points behind Ben Zobrist of the Cubs.
I wonder how long Jose is going to keep this up, because he's thrown nothing but fastballs to Goldschmidt yet. There it is.
There's your answer, and it's 2-1. But again, watching Jose pitch in the first 4 innings of this game, and as you go back through the last 8 starts, all wins, it's a different guy. He's much more composed, less full throttle.
It's the 4th inning right now. In the first month of the season, this would be the 2nd inning for Jose, 43 pitches.
That's right. There's the slider, and Goldschmidt couldn't lay off of it. That's pitch number 4 on the plate.
That's what happens when you have to protect against 97, Rich. And a guy has a really tight slider, you don't recognize it soon enough to not be able to pull the trigger. You're seeing fastball down at the knees away, and then once your eyes catch up to the rotation, it's bouncing in the dirt. You don't have the reaction time when a guy throws that hard.
.97 on that fastball. Bottom 4.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rich. That fastball up really set up anything that Jose wants to do right now. He can go back up again with a fastball or bury a slider. If he gets that ball down a little bit more out of strike zone, that's a strikeout for him. Just too good of a pitch to hit.
That time Goldschmidt identified the pitch. Full count, 3-2. 5 strikeouts, no walks. And a liner to third. Prado has it. 1-2-3. Jose Fernandez has faced the minimum and retired every man he's faced through 4. This date in Marlins history, 2008, Dan Uggla, a walk-off grand slam against D. Gordon's dad, Tom Flash Gordon. And that beat the Phillies. Here tonight, 2-0 Marlins. Jose Fernandez leads it off in the 5th. Again, Zach Godley, and Jose hits one down the left field line, and it lands foul. got the sting in that right hand as he's shaking it around.
Yeah, might have caught that one off the end of the bat a little bit. Usually happens when you reach for a ball and your top hand comes a little loose, and when you don't have the bat gripped tightly, that vibration really stings your hands.
Is a running commentary from Jose during all of his at-bats.
I would love to know what that soundtrack is, just to hear everything that he says to himself.
Well, a lot of it is engaging with the catcher. Sometimes it's the umpire or either bench, whoever will listen. Breaking ball. And Jose strikes out.
Got to keep that front side in, Jose. You don't have a chance. If your swing starts when your chest is already facing the pitcher, you're not going to hit it.
Derek Dietrich now has walked and bounced out. He takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Barry. What a relationship those two have, though, Jose and then Barry. Godley's thrown Dietrich some really filthy changeups. He threw a couple really good ones to Yelich and a couple good ones to Dietrich.
He kind of starts it at Dietrich's right knee, and it ends up in a place where he just can't get to it. Dietrich got to that, flips it to center, and there's 2 outs. You want bat flips? That's a mini one from Junior, but look at some epic bat flips, kids. And adults, too. If you've got a bat flip, you could be on your way to the All-Star game in San Diego. Post a video of your bat flip to @Fox Sports with the hashtag Fox Bat Flip Contest. Do it now. You got till June 26th.
That cracks me up every time.
foxsports.com/batflip for more information.
That has yet to fail to crack me up when I see that kid do that.
You know, the funny thing is that's just scratching the surface of the treasure trove of bat flips that we unearthed in the offseason. Martin Prado's got a couple hits. See Godley's pitch count at 67. Prado has another hit. Sprays that one to right, and it gets by Peralta. Goes to the track and to the wall. Prado's not stopping. On his way to third. The throw never got to third. It was dropped by the relay man, and that'll be a triple for Martin Prado. He knew exactly what he was going to get out of that.
Yeah, I think when he was running towards second and he saw the outfielders back to him, watch as you see the Peralta go to cut this off. Right about now, Prado is rounding first. And when you see the outfielders back to you and you're not to second base yet, you know you're going to get to third. It's going to have to take a great throw from the wall, perfect execution. See right there, he's seen the outfielders back. He's already made up his mind that he's going to third base right there. Never a second thought.
Now there are 2 outs, and some would ask why not just stop at second. But remember, Godley has been wild in the ball game. He misses down low to Yelich. So Martin Prado is 3 for 3. And for whatever reason, when he gets out of Miami, he goes nuts. He has the best, the best in the National League as far as road record. He's over 400. Breaking ball misses down low. Best average on the road came in at 394. Second in the majors. Best in the National League. And he's 3 for 3 with a triple.
He's a new dad, man. He gets some sleep on the road. Just had that new baby.
He's up to 411 now. Real Muto is second. He's homered in this ball game, and Godley misses away. 3-0. See if Yelich goes green light and takes a rip at a 3-0 fastball. It's in, and Yelich walks for the second time tonight, and that brings up Marcell Ozuna. It's a good thing they have that little path from home plate to the mound, because a frequent traveler has been Diamondback catcher Chris Herman, and now he stops and comes back. But he's not using the path this time. I know Detroit has that path.
Yes.
It's a throwback to fields of yesteryear. I'm trying to think if there are any other ballparks in baseball that have that. I don't think so in the National League. American League, I don't.
No,
we don't get to all of those parks.
I think those are the only two, though. I can't imagine. I don't remember seeing any others.
Ozuna now is flied out and bounced out. Ozuna, line shot, hit it hard. Lamb squeezes it, and the Marlins lead 2 more. Halfway through in Arizona, it's 2-0 Miami. Is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Just a real pleasant night here, and you rarely get one of those in June in Phoenix. But the roof is wide open. The big panels are open as well. Outside temperature in the mid-90s. David Peralta, Ricky Weeks, and Chris Herman against Jose Fernandez. Fernandez has been outstanding so far, and this is pitch number 50. It's lifted foul and out of play. Jose has struck out 5. Fernandez has not walked a batter. Echeverria on to first in time, and that's out number 1. In the 5th. Let's check in with Jessica Blaylock. Jess.
Hey Rich, 20 members of the Fish family are here at Chase Field. That includes David Wagner. Now David, How did the Fish family end up at this series here in Phoenix?
Well, I don't know. I selected it off the website. I just keep a close eye on it because it's a treat to come out on a trip like this.
Well, it certainly helps, too, that Jose Fernandez is pitching in one of these games. I see you brought the K for the strikeouts. How exciting is it to watch Jose?
Hey, it's Jose Day. Any day he pitches.
What else have you guys done while you've been here in Phoenix?
Oh, there's Camelback Mountain that we're staying right next to. Some of the folks went hiking, not me.
What's your favorite part about coming to a Marlins game on the road?
Oh, well, staying in the team hotel, which is a nice treat the Marlins give us.
Definitely will. You guys enjoy the rest of the game. Always nice to see Marlins faces here at a road game. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Jessica. Hey, Jess.
What's going on, Rich?
Since you're in the suite, how is the suite? Food, beverage?
You know what? The suite is very nice. I haven't had a chance to try any of the food or beverage yet, but there was a bowl of sweet potato tater tots sitting right by me as I was scoring the last inning. They smelled so good, so I think I might have to check out at least something before I head back to the field.
All right, very nice. Ricky Weeks takes a strike. Weeks flied to center. And the Diamondbacks have hit some balls hard in that second inning. A ball to the warning track right to the base of the wall in center sent Marcell Ozuna back. Michael Bourne hit that line drive that Yelich caught on the run. High fastball, swing and a miss. And Weeks' bat ends up halfway between the plate and the mound, and he's flexing that right hand right now. Wow.
Oh.
See that bat come all the way around his back?
Yeah. His bottom hand came off the bat somehow.
Chris Herman. Herman takes a strike. Herman hit a deep shot to the warning track his first time up. Well, that just it is just coming out of his hand and exploding right now. 98 miles an hour, and it's free and easy gas right now.
Yeah, he's looking really special right now, Rich. Like that's just Herman just trying to get a piece of that ball. He's got such life coming out of his hand, and the thing I like about Jose right now is he's not huffing and puffing.
Snaps off a breaking ball, another strikeout, 5 innings in the book. And Jose Fernandez has retired every hitter he has faced. It's 2-0 Miami. 2-0 Miami on top. If you are just joining us, don't go anywhere. Jose Fernandez has been absolutely brilliant tonight on just 60 pitches. He has chewed up Arizona through 5 innings. No hits, no walks, 7 punch-outs. Miami has provided him with 2 runs. Giancarlo Stanton, Justin Bour, and JT Realmuto. Stanton swings and misses. Count 0-1. Stanton a fly ball to center and a ground out to short. Zach Godley bounces that one up. Stanton, for the first time tonight, is at the plate without his face guard. Fouls it off. Now, a week into this deep and long valley, Stanton took the guard off, which he had been wearing against right-handed pitchers since he was hit in Milwaukee in 2014. He took it off for about 3 or 4 days and then went back to it. Pitch is up. And it's 2-2. Swings and misses at a breaking ball. Down goes Stanton. Here comes Bour. You can call the Marlins group sales team today at 1-877-MARLINS and enjoy personalized experience for your group at Marlins Park. Perfect for family outings, birthdays, networking, all of that. Bour has bounced out twice. Home run number 10 on the season was an enormous one last night. Bour, right center field. After it is Michael Bourne, and he runs it down. Now 400 feet from home plate. And so Zach Godley's got 2 outs. And here comes Realmuto.
No, Godley's done well for himself considering how this game started, not being able to really throw a strike for the first couple batters. In the 6th inning now with 80 pitches with 1 out left to get, he's acquitted himself pretty well, Rich.
And when you go back to your high school reunion, the next one, Preston Wilson, you can tell everybody you saw an alum pitch in the big leagues, and you'd never been able to say that before.
This is true. It's actually a little surreal because even though the uniform is different, those are basically our high school colors. Our high school colors were garnet, black, and white, and those are basically our high school colors, like that brick reddish and black.
Bamberg, South Carolina.
The Red Raiders, Rich.
2-0 pitch is out. Realmuto yanked one into the seats for his 3rd home run of the season. Hard chopper. Lamb with a great play. Safe. Realmuto runs well, and he beats it. But certainly one that will be looked at and dissected by both video rooms.
And this ball is hit well. It's always tough for a right-handed batter to get out of the batter's box well when he pulls the ball that hard. Realmuto does a good job getting going, get down that line. That's a close play. Wow. Definitely worth a look.
And Chip Hale says he would like to challenge.
So is that official now? Is that the universal sign for a replay call now?
Yes,
That's the official call?
It's either that or my favorite Star Wars character is Princess Leia. Yeah, that's become it. Hey, put the headset on for me.
All right.
Back of glove. I think he's out. It looked like the ball got to the back of the glove before Realmuto's foot got there. This one should not take long. Although it is a busy night in baseball. Well, that's odd. One umpire's left. Ted Barrett is left. And he is out. Marlins are done in the 6th, 2-0 Miami. Tomorrow, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing heads to Michigan. Kurt Busch looks to defend his title on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Preston Wilson likes the M&M car.
I do.
Nick Ahmed. Jose Fernandez spins in a breaking ball. First 15, he's retired. That's a new career high. Back in his Rookie of the Year season in 2013 in September, set down 14 nationals to start things. And there's a fastball that's fouled back to the screen. And the amazing thing about tonight is this is the new Jose. This is not Jose coming out at 100 miles an hour with flames shooting out of his ears, which we've seen in his career. This is the Jose that the Marlins in spring training talked to him about becoming. And that is more early contact. Don't worry about piling up strikeouts, especially early in the game. And he punches out Ahmed with a 97-mile-an-hour heater. Now, Chip Hale thinks it's down.
This young man is pitching now. To be able to reach back and get 97 after just kind of moving the ball around in and out, letting the movement take care of it early in the count, and then have something that you have to really try to catch up to with 2 strikes. He's too young to be learning this much this quickly, Rich. He really is.
National League leaders. Jose right on Kershaw's tail. And he fires in a strike to the pitcher, Zach Godley. Michael Bourne is on deck. Juan Nieves has worked so hard with all of his pitchers, but with Jose, it's been on throttling down. Using that fastball at 92, 93, and when you need it, dial it up. Godley to first, bobbled, Bohr. Jose is there and gets the out. And there are 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
Yeah, Justin Bohr doesn't want to make Jose work that hard, but that ball, he didn't quite look it in. Got behind him. We talk about it all the time, Rich. When you are a fielder and your glove gets behind your eyes, you're guessing. So when you have that ball back around your body and that ball passes your eyes, you're guessing if that ball's going to go in the glove. Sometimes it goes in cleanly, sometimes it doesn't.
You can also use that word to describe some of the Arizona hitters tonight. Although Michael Bourne had a solid at bat in the 3rd, he hit a line drive to left that Yelich caught. And the Diamondbacks have barreled up some baseballs. They've hit a couple of warning track shots. Bourne to right, and it's deep, and it's gone. The first run and the first hit belong to Michael Bourne.
Well, you said it, Rich. He's had some good swings. Hit the ball hard to Yelich last time on a line to left field. Turns on the fastball there.
And it's a 2-1 game now.
No hitter gone, shutout gone. Yeah, that's just in that spot where those left-handed hitters like it.
Here now is Segura, who is 0 for 2 and struck out back in the 4th.
Well, now the key is for Jose to not try to overthrow now. Keep doing what you were doing. That's just 1 run. It's a solo home run. Get back to what you were doing.
Breaking ball for a strike. It's 1-1. 8 strikeouts, no walks. And now 1 hit and 1 run. One and 2. Little soft serve into center field. Segura has a hit. And he's on with 2 outs. Here comes Jake Lamb. Headed to San Diego. Not only are the Marlins, but also, of course, everybody in baseball in early July. And you can vote now. The 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. Vote up to 35 times through June 30th at marlins.com on your computer, tablet, smartphone, device, watch. Whatever it takes. 34, 35. Segura back with a dive. So a home run by Bourne, a single by Segura. And for the first time, Jose Fernandez in the stretch tonight. That one's hit well to right. Stanton back, looks up, base of the wall. He got it cleanly off the wall. Stop sign up, runner comes home, and the Marlins botch the relay. And this game is tied. Stanton made an extraordinary play off the wall. Segura ran through a stop sign, and had the Marlins handled that relay cleanly, they would have had a great shot at it.
This is just an incredible play by Stanton. Peeled this ball cleanly, bare hand. Gets in the throw here. Too much distance between. Okay, this is the problem. Too much distance between the first cutoff man and the second cutoff man. The rule of thumb is if that ball short hops the first guy, the second guy should be able to get it. And it just looks like there was too much distance between Dietrich and Echeverria. See how far they are apart there? So you end up having both of those guys getting bad hops on that throws, and that shouldn't happen.
It looked like Echeverria was late to the party. And just like that, Jose Fernandez entered the inning, having retired every man he faced. He got the first 2 outs, but the next 3 hitters have hits, and the lead is gone. It's 2-2.
I mean, I think the Marlins have to look up and realize they only have 4 hits against Godwin.
Goldschmidt lined to third his last time up, and he struck out back in the first.
This all came with 2 outs, Rich. You know, after that play at first where Jose had to really hustle over there and get there, you wonder if maybe he didn't gather himself enough, slow down enough after that play.
This obviously the most stressful inning he's had. Into center, that's a hit. Ozuna after it, Lamb around third, and he will score. And now Arizona leads at 3-2. 4 consecutive hits.
You know, I take this all the way back to the Michael Bourne at bat. 2 outs, and he just simply made a pitch that really he hadn't missed in that spot all game. That's the one spot where Michael Bourne can probably take you out of the ballpark down and in. He's not going to take you out of the ballpark to left field. You know, I would like to see that again to see if that's where they were trying to go or whether that ball just got left inside. And if that's the case, sometimes a pitcher, when he gets 2 outs in that inning, he's in a little bit too much of a hurry to get in the dugout.
Well, he'd been perfect, literally.
Yes.
Up until then. Here's the pitch you were asking for to Michael Bourne.
Real Muto's sitting up outside. See this? He's sliding outside. Now watch where he has to reach for. That's what happens when you get a left-handed hitter. That's the only place Michael Bourne can hit you out of the ballpark is down and in right there.
Ozuna in left center. Can't get it. Over his head. Goldschmidt scores. Peralta to third. And the Diamondbacks have roared to life here in the 6th. That's a long way out there. Peralta is a strong man.
Yeah, Ozuna kind of got lost as far as where he was at the wall. I call that getting sucked into the wall. You follow the ball so long you forget how close you are or how far you are in relationship to the wall, and it costs him an extra base. That should be a double, but he played that into a triple by not knowing how close he was to the wall.
Now here is Weeks, who was flied out, struck out. Ricky Weeks, long-time Milwaukee Brewer. Miami's bullpen trying to get loose in a hurry. Mike Dunn is up.
I'm surprised I haven't seen a meeting come out of the dugout from Juan Nieves.
Michael Bourne homering. That started it. Weeks a high pop. Dietrich has it. And Jose Fernandez night takes a quick turn. It's 4-2 Arizona. Marlins. Last day in Phoenix is tomorrow, 3:30 for Marlins Live, 4 o'clock first pitch. And then it's on to our nuclear sub. And we'll pull in to San Diego, where Dick Enberg will greet us. And a 3-gamer with the Padres begins on Monday nights. Tuesday night, Wednesday afternoon. We'll end a 9-game Miami road trip. All right, some changes here. First, Yasmani Tomas comes in the double switch, I would assume. And Tyler Clippard is on the mound. Ichiro is on deck. That would mean the end of Jose Fernandez night. Clippard gets another bite at the apple, so to speak. It was he that threw the ill-fated changeup that Justin Bour clobbered out for a pinch hit grand slam. And then Clippard walked the next 2 hitters, Echeverria and Prado, and this is Echeverria to lead it off in the 7th. Fastball up. And the Marlins have to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and get some runs, some late inning runs, which they've done the last 2 ball games. There's the line last night for Clippard. Echeverria to right field. Peralta goes back. He reaches for the wall and makes the catch.
Well, I think we were so enamored with what Jose Fernandez was doing, having not allowed a hit for so long, that we didn't really recognize that after the first inning or two, the Marlins got a run on a home run in the 4th from Real Muto, but other than that, they really didn't do much against Godley. They scored the run in the 1st, scored a run on the home run by Real Muto in the 4th, and that's it.
Ichiro. Clippard misses with a fastball. And of course, Ichiro had a great series in Minneapolis. Pinch a penny pinch hitter. Smokes a ground ball off the glove of Goldschmidt, and Ichiro's got another hit. How about that? 26 away is Ichiro, and his assault on this trip continues. That's his 8th hit of this road trip.
Seems like he's on a mission, Rich. Like it seems like he's just turned it up. He's dialed it up a different level right now.
So 2,974, the high-tech Ichiro hit counter. And here is Dietrich. Whew, look out. Remember the number we gave you on Marlins Live when talking about Tyler Clippard. A 181 average versus lefties since 2009 is the best in the majors, with a minimum of 750 batters faced. And yet Bour last night with a pinch hit grand slam, Ichiro with a pinch hit. Dietrich got a lot on that. Clippard, of course, great with that changeup. Zach Godley right now is in line for the win. Called strike. Boy, man, that was up.
Yeah, Lance Barksdale behind the plate has had a pretty small strike zone for the most part tonight, but that's one of those that that's definitely at the top of the zone. Above the zone, I should say.
Let's see what Clippard throws here. 0-2. Now, of course, Ichiro's hit total chasing 3,000, but at the same time, he is 4 hits behind Pete Rose. If you count the 1,278 hits that he had in Japan. NHK television over in Japan following Ichiro and following us, so we'll keep you updated on that total as well. Ichiro runs, good jump. Dietrich fouls it back. Clippard is a guy you can run on. The hard thing for Miami in their history against Tyler Clippard is getting on. You know, the coverage is starting to intensify with every hit he gets. Dietrich into right field, waited on that off-speed pitch and drills it to right. And the Marlins have put some good swings on Tyler Clippard last night and tonight.
Stayed on that thing. Ichiro has to hold up, make sure it's not a line drive so he doesn't get doubled off. His run means nothing right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ichiro try to take third against Clippard, though. With that big leg kick. He's just been feeling kind of froggy.
Prado 3 for 3 tonight.
I also wouldn't be surprised to see the Diamondback put something on, too.
Ichiro's at second. Dietrich's at first. Prado takes a strike. Now, Prado saw plenty of Clippard when he was a Brave. And look at this, 2 for 23. So it wasn't just the Marlins that Clippard was dominating. Yelich on deck.
Well, Clippard is an oddity in baseball, and he's a right-hander who can pitch with his changeup, kind of like Trevor Hoffman did. Even though Clippard throws harder, but he's one of those guys who can actually use his changeup in any count.
To either side of the plate, to righties. And we talked about how devastating it can be to left-handed bats. 4-2 Arizona. Martin Prado, an amazing .411 average on the road this year. And he swings and misses. Well, the numbers told you that Prado had struggled against him, and Clippard gets the strikeout.
Yeah, that's just that nasty little floating change up there. It almost acts like a split finger the way it dives, but got that good arm speed. The ball just doesn't quite come out like it does when he throws a fastball, and it's hard to pick up.
All right, another lefty bat, and it's Yelich, who's walked twice. 3 for 12, has homered against him. Fastball misses out. In Miami. A long home run to right center. Yelich pulls a grounder. Goldschmidt to the bag. And Tyler Clippard gets through the 7th.
Arizona leads it 4-2. Now, Barry Bonds knows a thing or two about hitting, but he also knows a thing or two about being intentionally walked. Let's flash back to a moment that took place on May 28th, 1998. The Diamondbacks facing the Giants. It's a bases-loaded situation. Arizona is up 8-6. Barry Bonds at the plate. Buck Showalter gives the signal to intentionally walk Bonds, and that is exactly what happens. Now, in this situation, you wonder if it's going to work out in the favor of the Diamondbacks. They give up the run. It's an 8-7 game. Well, it does work out for them. As you take a look, the rarest of walks since intentional walks became a Major League Baseball stat in 1955. There have only been 2 that have taken place. You saw the one with Barry Bonds, and then in 2008, Joe Madden has Josh Hamilton intentionally walked. The Rays would go on to win this game. Guys, very interesting fact. Every time a team has intentionally walked a player, it has worked out in their favor.
That is interesting, though it's only happened twice since they were keeping that stat. I love the look on Bond's face when he
was like, wait, what's happening right now?
Turned around and saw that. Mike Dunn for Miami. Jose Fernandez, his night over, and what an abrupt change of fortune for Fernandez. Herman, right field, deep, and that could get wet. And no, it's way up on the second level. And Mike Dunn has given up a long home run to open up the bottom of the 7th.
Wow. He put a charge in that one, Rich. This thing is up too. This is almost letter high, and he goes up there again. These left-handers come in facing a left-handed reliever. They're looking for that first pitch fastball. We saw James Loney do it against Dunn. This is Herman. Because they don't want to get to that breaking ball. So they're going to try to find the first pitch fastball. That wasn't even really that great of a pitch to hit. It was up almost letter high. But because he was so aggressive on the fastball and looking fastball, he got to it.
I thought it was going in the pool. It ends up just above the pool, 438 feet from home plate. Nick Ahmed. And Ahmed takes down low. So 5-2 Arizona. For Dunn, this is just his 5th appearance. And in 2 1/3, he's now given up 4 hits and 2 of them homers. And as Preston illustrated, the other homer to James Loney.
Sometimes it just works out where the batter's thinking the same thing the pitcher's thinking. The pitcher's thinking, I've got to get ahead so that I can start expanding and throw my other stuff. And the batter's thinking, he's going to try to get ahead. I don't want to see that other stuff.
Five 2/3 innings of perfect baseball from Jose Fernandez, and then the roof fell in. 5 consecutive hits later, including a homer, a triple, a double, and 2 singles. The Diamondbacks had a 4-2 lead, and now they lead at 5-2 with Herman's homer off of Dunn. Full count to Ahmed. Just 3 games going in Major League Baseball right now. This is the only National League game. Seattle a 1-0 lead over Texas, bottom 7 in Seattle. Angels at home, 1-0 lead over Cleveland, top 7. In the East, the Mets have lost. Milwaukee beat them 7-4. Liner into right, and that's a hit. And here comes Tomas. The Marlins Express can bring you and your group to a game in style. 30 to 50 people in a motor coach, starting at just $40 a person. Marlins Express can be yours at 1-877-Marlins. There were a lot more smiles on Marlin fan faces just an inning ago. Tomas, his first AB.
Well, Jose was perfect through 5 2/3.
Oh, 2. Tomas will be featured on Marlins Live as part of Fox Sports documentary, Cuba, baseball's final frontier. So tomorrow, 3:30 start, Marlins Live, and a special segment following Yasmani Tomas and his journey from Cuba to the major leagues. Outside corner. Dunn gets a strikeout and the first out of the 7th. And here is Michael Bourne, the guy that started it all for Arizona. There went the perfect game. There went the shutout. And that ignited Arizona, who would have a 4-run inning before they were done against Jose in the 6th.
You know, you were just hoping that Jose could slow it back down, get it back together, but it just didn't. Things just kind of snowballed from there. The ball was up, missed location, just couldn't quite get it back after that Bourne home run.
By the way, up in San Francisco, the Giants in 10 innings beat the Dodgers. Buster Posey with the walk-off hit. Dodgers had scored a run in the top of the 10th. The Giants scored 2 in the bottom half. That was against Kenley Jansen, the Dodger closer. Two balls and a strike. Yelich makes the catch. And there are 2 outs. Ahmed gets back to first. Here comes Gene Segura. Segura in the leadoff spot. The Marlins last night avoided the back end, the very back end of the Diamondbacks bullpen. And looming in that very back end, you've got Randall Delgado or Brad Ziegler. Ziegler, a nice weapon for Chip Hale. Has converted 39 consecutive saves. Ball and a strike. Boy, Jose not only was sharp, but he was quick.
Dunn definitely works at a more deliberate pace.
Well, Jose was just mowing guys down. And, you know, a good point is it wasn't until that 6th inning after the home run by Bourne, the single by Segura put Jose in the stretch for the first time. And the Diamondbacks followed with 3 more hits. Jake Lamb RBI double, Goldschmidt single, and then Peralta's RBI triple, which finished the scoring. Here in the 7th, Chris Herman took a Dunn fastball and hit it 438 feet to right center. 1-2. Prado has the line drive, but the Diamondbacks add on and stretch their lead to 3, 5-2. Late night back home on the East Coast past midnight here at Chase Field with the roof wide open. You can see Daniel Hudson up on the big board loosening up. The panels are open as well. Early in the night, the Marlins and Jose Fernandez were in command. But a big 6th inning turned things around for the Diamondbacks. And now they do get to bring that back of the pen out. And they tried out Daniel Hudson, who's been a real nice setup man. Right-handed hitters really struggle against this guy. And just 3 for 43. You see an ERA of 1.5. Ozuna, Stanton, and Bohr. And Hudson fires a fastball for a strike. Daniel Hudson had 2 Tommy John surgeries in consecutive years. 2012, 2013. There are very few pitchers who have had 2 Tommy John surgeries that come back as starting pitchers, as successful starting pitchers. So Hudson finds himself now working in the 8th inning for the Diamondbacks. Hudson was a starter early in his career. Like 2011, in 33 starts, he was 16-12 for the Diamondbacks.
I mean, you're seeing a good changeup. You're seeing a good live fastball, mid-90s fastball, 96 right there.
Scoreless inning by Tyler Clippard, though the Marlins got a couple of hits, including a pinch hit by Ichiro, who is now 26 away from 3,000. That one out of the reach of a hustling Paul Goldschmidt. Loyalty program of the Marlins is Fish Family. A lot of those members here tonight. Your bonus code is Fish Family Vacation. Is that all one word, or just you can put the spaces? All right, either way. Just get Fish Family Vacation up there. Ozuna, left field. That's deep. Tomas back, and it's gone. Marcell Ozuna homers to left. And Miami is within 2. And Hudson, who's been so tough on righties, gives up a solo shot to open the inning.
Ozuna had that line drive to third, the last at bat. Swung the bat well, didn't get anything happen for him, but right here, he finds him something that's middle, and he just stays with that swing. So even though he's out on front on the changeup, when you're thinking stay through the middle of the field, you just keep that swing going, and you're able to keep it fair, and you don't pull off of it. Kind of what we were talking about with Justin Gordon to open with the changeups. Same principle there. Stay with it, just keep that swing going, and you keep it fair. You don't pull off it and miss it.
Looked like a slider that didn't quite slide. And for Ozuna, 12 homers.
And a change out slide.
And Stanton takes outside. Those two from the very start of spring training spent a lot of time with each other, and Ozuna soaked up everything Bonds had to say.
I wish I had Barry Bonds talking to me when I was a young hitter.
Came in and it hit Stanton, I believe, in the arm.
Might have got him on the hand or something.
And he had the mask on for that at bat. And so Stanton's on his way to first. Here's a look. Yeah, that right forearm.
I look at Stanton right now, and he's just late in his setup. You know, I know what that struggle's like. I know what it's like to think you're on time when you're not on time. But when you start moving your swing forward before you recognize that ball's that far inside, that means you're late and you're having to start your swing because the ball's already on top of you. So that means you haven't created that separation time. See, his foot should all the way have been down when that ball's like almost halfway to the plate. And he's still going down, so now the back half has the fire before the front side gets set.
Here's Bornow, who was a hero last night with the pinch hit grand slam.
And it's a hard thing to combat because when your balance isn't good, you feel like you're too early because you can't hold that setup. You can't get there and wait. You know, when you see a guy hit a breaking ball and there's that pause, well, when your balance is bad, you can't pause like that. So then you feel, oh, I'm too early. Well, it's not that you're too early. It's just that your setup isn't good.
Fastball up and out. Hudson. And this is appearance number 25. Had given up just one home run before the Ozuna shot. We're going after a fastball, and it's 2-1. So he's given up 2 homers, one to a left-handed hitter and the other to Marcell Ozuna from the right side. And Hudson misses up and out. Miami's pen. That's Kyle Barraclough and Nick Whitgren. A home run by Ozuna. Giancarlo Stanton hit by a pitch. And Bohr sitting on a 3-1 count. And that one got Chris Herman.
Oh, right to the face mask.
It's got one of those hockey masks that the front designed to absorb shots like that, but certainly it still is quite a jolt.
Yeah, getting punched in the face, getting punched in the face. That's, you're still going to feel that.
Herman, yet another University of Miami product. Had a great year in 2009 as their leading hitter. Led in runs scored and on base percentage. (3-2). And Bohr fouls it back. Boston College beating Miami. And so that series, I believe, is tied at a game apiece. (3-2) to Bohr. And he got him. So Bohr strikes out. Hudson, his first out of the 8th. And he got him with a fastball. Here's Real Muto. So it's winner take all for the Canes and Boston College, who I don't think has been to Omaha since like the late 60s or early 70s.
Wow.
Real Muto's home run to left is against Zach Godley. I mean, Godley in line to win this ball game. Stand at first. And a strike. Pitch is in, and of course I'm working tonight with Preston Wilson, but Eduardo Perez he's never far away, and he just reminded me to mention that the Seminoles beat the Gators today, much to the chagrin of our producer John Solser and Jessica Blaylock. 2-1. Oh, look at that. He's everywhere.
I mean, he's not at a Florida State Seminole game right there. I know that much.
No, but I bet he's got his Florida State polo on. See?
Yeah, he does.
Eduardo lives. Eduardo lives down in Coral Gables.
Oh, man.
2-2 coming to Real Muto. Chopper to third. Lamb backs up, across the diamond, and off the bag is Goldschmidt. Real Muto is safe. Remember that bang-bang play in which Real Muto was out, and it was Lamb that made the great play on that one. This one.
This is how things get started, Rich. Hit by pitch, an error. Things fall apart.
Not a hit, but an error. And here's Echeverria. Pitcher spot is due up next. Remember, Ichiro is already hit, and he picked up a single in the 7th. Cole Gillespie is on deck, and Echeverria swings and misses.
Come on, Etch. Come up big right now.
Ball and a strike. So game 2 of that series in Gainesville tomorrow. Florida State and Florida. Count 2-1. Well, Hudson's certainly the guy the Diamondbacks want out there. His numbers against righties devastating. Coming into tonight, Ozuna homered to open the inning. He hit Stanton. Real Muto reaches on the throwing error. With 1 out, Echeverria, 2-1. Sharp ground ball. Lamb has it out there. The turn by Segura, safe. Goldschmidt was off the bag.
So that's amazing. This is one of those innings where you never know. The Marlins could find themselves getting back in this game. I don't know if Goldschmidt gave up on the play because he didn't think they were going to be able to turn it.
Well, look how far he is.
No, but he was towards the home plate side of first base.
He may have forgotten how many outs there were.
That's possible.
I mean, you're talking about a Gold Glover at first base. Diamondbacks have already won 1 challenge, but in looking at that replay, it looked like Echeverria was past there, and so it is Gillespie.
Hey, got to make it up right here. Yeah, he was just lost in traffic there.
That looks almost like a simultaneous step on the bag. No challenge. Here's Gillespie, and there's 2 outs now.
This is where you got to make this hurt. You got the error by the third baseman. You got that lapse in attention right there.
The only thing I can think of is that he lost track of the outs and started towards the dugout after the out was recorded at second base.
Could be.
Remember the Real Muto play at first, which should have been an out. That was a throwing error. Maybe he, in his mind, thought that was an out. Fastball in. So the Diamondbacks essentially have given the Marlins a couple of extra outs here in the 8th. In the dirt, and Herman who really is a unique player in that he can also play outfield and catch. Bob Brenly, Diamondbacks television analyst, former Major League catcher, and of course a World Series winning manager, said he's not bad behind the plate.
He's played catcher, first base, center field, and right field.
That is unique. And right now it's 3-1. Hudson missing up. He's fallen behind Cole Gillespie. You've got Derek Dietrich on deck.
It's a big pitch right here.
It's pitch number 30 already for Hudson. The 3-1. To left. It's deep. Tomas is back at the wall, and he got it. Wow. Cole Gillespie came a couple feet away from giving Miami a lead. As it is, the Diamondbacks are still on top, 5-3. On top, Cole Gillespie sending Yasmani Tomas to the base of the wall in left. It's MLB.TV Premium, #1 live streaming sports service. Every out-of-market game live in HD, over 400 supported devices. MLB.TV Premium includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV. Preston Wilson uses it. Eduardo Perez uses it. Jeff Conine has it on his various devices. And Al Leiter sleeps with that by the bedstand, with the scores being updated as he snoozes. Jake Lamb, RBI double in the 6th. That the undoing of a perfect night for Jose Fernandez, who had gone 5 2/3 perfect. Michael Bourne homered, and then Arizona blitzed him for 4 more hits, including a triple and a double, and 3 more runs.
It all started with 2 outs to the 9-hole hitter.
Nick Wickren, really nice changeup. And he gets the first out of the 8th. Wickren former Boilermaker. He had a rough outing in Minnesota, but it certainly has had his moments. Here in the big leagues. That one fouled back. Paul Goldschmidt singled, lined out, struck out. And I'm sure Goldschmidt relieved that Gillespie's ball stayed in the yard.
Gillespie didn't miss it by much. It was good swing, 3-1 count. He took an aggressive hack, just a little bit short.
And that's what you want in a 3-1 swing. Checkers presents Marlins Live, our post-game offering on Late Night with the Fish here tonight in Arizona. One, two. And Nick Whitgren strikes out Goldschmidt. So a pair of punch outs for Whitgren to open up the 8th. And here is Peralta, who finished the scoring in the 6th with a triple over Marcell Ozuna's head in left center field. One.
Tell you what, Ozuna's playing really deep out there in center field. I don't know what's that out there laying in front of him.
Piece of paper.
It's a napkin or something, but he's really deep out there. I mean, he might be about 5 strides from the warning track.
You know, the roof's open. There's a breeze in here. Stuff gets on the field. I was amused. I think it was a couple weeks ago, and I don't remember the ballpark, but all of a sudden time was called and an outfielder ran back to the warning track and picked up a hot dog wrapper and threw it over the wall. And I thought to myself, I can remember as a kid going to Candlestick and the whole field would be covered by stuff blowing around. Nick Whitgren strikes out the side in the 8th. Top of the order for the Fish. Down 2, headed to the 9th in Arizona. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today, and by your South Florida Honda dealers. Chase Fields, love the look with the roof open and the big panels wide open. And the Marlins get a look at a guy who has been perfect for a while. That's Brad Ziegler.
11 for 11 in save opportunities. Does have a 3.24 ERA. Opponent's average is 284, but when there's been a save on the line, he's gotten the job done.
Yeah, his ERA in save situations is under 1. It's 0.82. And he has a club record run of 39 consecutive saves. Derek Dietrich, Martin Prado, and then Christian Yelich, and yeah, Ziegler comes from down under. 6th season with the Diamondbacks, 4 previous with Oakland.
It's just funky under there, and it's not hard, but it's hard to pick up. It's just awkward.
Dietrich shoots one against the shift into left field for a hit. That is a terrific job by Dietrich. A lot of funk, that ball running away from him, and the Diamondbacks had him play to pull on the ground.
Nice job staying on that, letting the ball get deep, because it's only coming 83 miles an hour, but it's so hard to pick up when you're not used to looking down there. It really is a different look.
.560th career appearance. Got to the big leagues first in 2008. Dietrich's hit first. Prado has 3 hits. And Ziegler misses. You've got Yelich, then Ozuna, and then Stanton.
These are the kind of guys I think Prado would be good at because he stays on the ball so well and he tries to go to center and right so much. I don't think these guys would affect him as much as some other righties.
Ground ball, right field, base hit, and Prado finds the hole. Miami a couple of singles to open the 9th against the Diamondbacks closer Brad Ziegler.
I just think this guy just fits Prado. He doesn't throw hard, and he's going to have to move the ball around, and Prado lets the ball get so deep to try to hit the ball to center in the right field that it's just a good matchup for him.
Prado's going to come out of the ball game, and Miguel Rojas will pinch run for Prado. Now you've got Yelich. You know, some Marlins don't have a lot of experience against Ziegler. Yelich takes a strike, 84 miles an hour. Yelich 0 for 3 against Ziegler in his career. He's walked twice tonight. Dietrich at second, Rojas at first. There's funk, and then there's even more funk, and at 76 the bottom just dropped out of that.
Yeah, it's almost below hitting speed when it starts doing that.
John Mattingly said today that Christian Yelich is the best on this ball club at identifying pitches early. This is a real challenge to identify. In the dirt, Herman got enough of it. Close and late, 7th inning or later, 2 runs or less. Yelich is second in the National League. One, 2. Yelich a grounder to second. Segura sweeps it. Ahmed turns it. And the Diamondbacks are an out away for the win. AT&T high-speed replay, last at bat, Marcell Ozuna.
That's a 1-2 count. When you see the catcher have to reach back across the plate, bad things happen. It happened for Fernandez with Bourne. It happened right there with Ozuna.
So here is Ozuna. I think floats in at 74.
Well, that was a mistake right there. Herman wants this ball outside. They're going to try to make Ozuna hit the ball the other way. They don't want him pulling the ball in this situation. Look where he's setting up out there. That's just a mistake that Ozuna just wasn't ready to hit. I'm sure he didn't want to hit a breaking ball right there.
Well, he's running out of choices.
Yeah, I mean, the first pitch I understand. You don't want to hit a breaking ball your first pitch, but all right, now you got to scramble now.
0-2. Dietrich, the lone survivor, out on the bases. One, two. No chase.
But Ozuna's been the hot guy on this team. Ziegler's not going to give in to him, not on purpose anyway. It's going to have to be a gross mistake for him to let Ozuna pull the ball hard. He's going to try to stay out there. If he walks him, I don't even think he cares if he walks him. I think he feels like he'd rather pitch to Stanton right now than Ozuna.
2-2. Got him. And Arizona wins it on a night where Jose Fernandez came out and looked perfect. The Diamondbacks erupted in the 6th and hang on in the 8th and the 9th. And Zach Godley, who certainly had second billing coming into this one, ends up surviving and getting the win. And of course, Jose Fernandez streak ends at 8 consecutive starts with a W. Marlins Live is coming up next.